Welcome back. It is 1565, already halfway through this decade, and in the last one, we had Katerina start to worry about her husband's desire for a boy. We had Nicholas get a new woohoo partner. We had Alice make potentially a huge mistake by getting pregnant out of wedlock. So let's see where we're going with this. This year, we actually only have 2 birthdays, so that's pretty good. We have Bennett Crookshank becoming a young adult, so he can't get a 3 or an 18. He did not. And then we have Lawrence Gainsford needing to get at least a 7 to survive. Not that he has that much to live for, but he does live. So that will be the birthdays. Let's see if we have any for townies. We do. We have Madison Whitehead becoming a teenager, Agnes Brigg becoming a child. Okay, we got 2. So good stuff. And yeah, really not much to say here. There's no one having babies, there's no one doing anything. So let's hop into the game. Alrighty, so here we are back at home. I'm just having Nicholas work on some of his skills for his aspiration, and we are actually going to start with having Angus invite Nicholas out. So Nicholas is like, oh, okay, like, it's probably a woo-hooty call, right? So he heads out, and he actually finds Angus at the restaurant. I really should add more places for them to go, but at the restaurant with his daughter. So his daughter, what is her name again? Gosh, Damaris. And she is here with him, and Nicholas is very confused at first. He's like, what is happening? And he kind of realizes over the course of the conversation that Angus is, trying to hook him up with his daughter. And Nicholas is like, oh, okay. And so he, gets to know her a bit, like, just has a good dinner, tries to, like, be cool, like he's not trying to make things awkward or anything. So he just ignores that, and he just tries to enjoy the time and, waits for his opportunity to end up asking Angus about what the deal is. So, obviously he knows that him and Angus, like, they don't have a future. They're just woohooing. They're not doing anything. Angus is married. Like, we're all set there. But he was not expecting Angus to try to set him up with his daughter. So they are going to all just have a good meal. He actually becomes pretty good friends with her. It's going well. She seems very agreeable, and she seems like a nice lady. And so okay, you guys have to stop autonomously trying for a baby. I added autonomous try for a baby on, but I thought that it was only going to relate to people who are actually romantic with each other. Anyway, so he talks to Angus afterwards, and he's like, hey, like, wow, that happened really fast. This was slower in the game. Anyway, he's like, hey, like, what was that about? And Angus is like, well, you're a really good match, and, like, don't you think my daughter is good enough for you? And Nicholas is like, whoa, like, of course I do. Like, she's a very nice lady. I just, didn't. That's not what I thought was happening here. So Angus basically tells Nicholas, hey, why don't you really think about it? And, we could still do our thing, but it'd be, nice if you could find a lovely young lady to be with. So meanwhile, Alice has to tell her dad that she's pregnant. She's showing by now. It's very obvious. She doesn't have a lot of other choices. And she has to tell her dad that she got pregnant with Bert's child, which she was not expecting to happen, but it just kind of did. And she is actually really anxious about the whole thing because she was very impulsive, and she was like, oh, he's good, I'll marry him. And then the more she got to know him, she was like, oh, wait, maybe not. Like, is this actually a bad idea? And so that is something she's struggling with. She's telling her father, like, hey, I got pregnant and I don't really know what to do, and I'm stressed now. And he's like, well, you're going to marry him, obviously. Gabriel's like, how does this happen to more than one of my children? So anyway, because Nicholas is considering Damaris as a future wife, he is going to invite the family over for a dinner party and introduce them to the family. And, he's thinking to himself that he doesn't see himself like falling in love again, and he's worried about that. And so because he doesn't really see himself falling in love, he is willing to just kind of do whatever. And so he's like, well, maybe that would be fine, like maybe I could marry Damaris. And but meanwhile they're having the dinner party, and Damaris is actually being mean to Alice because of course Alice is showing by now. A lot of people are spreading rumors about her, like her reputation is in shambles. And so Damaris is being mean to Alice and just basically being like, well, you know, you like, all sorts of derogatory things, right? So anyway, so she's being really mean to Alice about her reputation and everything, and Alice is really hurt by that. And they all leave, and I am just having him do the career stuff upstairs. But basically, Gabriel's like, whoa, like what's happening? And he has a conversation with Alice afterwards. I feel like, so here's the thing about the estate and money is when I had to get them a new estate, I got them one that was smaller because we had so much money. But now I like don't have as much money to throw around, and I'm like surprised by it, which is my own fault. But yeah, we're not going to be throwing around money as easily as we used to. But anyway, he has a talk with Alice, and Alice is like really upset by the whole encounter and everything. And she's like, Nicholas isn't really going to marry her, is he? She's so mean, like blah, blah, blah. And Gabriel's like, we'll see what happens. Like, I'll have a talk with them. Gabriel is very confused as to what happened because Nicholas just like randomly was like, hey, I'm going to invite these people over and, do the thing. And so Gabriel was taken by surprise by that. So he is going to do that, and of course he's feeling bad because Alice is already so overwhelmed. So Nicholas and Gabriel are going to have their own conversation where Gabriel is like, hey, like I know that you're thinking that you have to remarry and have children and all this stuff, and I know that you're thinking all of that, but I want you to really take the time to consider what's best for you, what's best for your family, like who is a person that you really want to spend the rest of your life with, and what is that going to mean for you, and all this stuff. So he really tries to impress upon Nicholas that he should really think about it before he picks his next life partner. And so then we're going to enter in Bert, who, got Alice pregnant, and so she's going to tell him that she's pregnant, and, they're going to arrange for a wedding. Gabriel is going to come have this conversation with them as well. Gabriel is going to be like, hey, like, yeah. So, Gabriel is going to give his blessing, because what else can he do? And try and get these two married. So yeah, we are going to then, I still can't create a wedding event, and I don't know if it's because she's a teenager, right? We'll have to see when Nicholas gets remarried if that is still the case for him, but we'll see where it goes from there. So we are going to have the wedding. It's going to be a ball or whatever. It's not going to be able to be a wedding, but that's okay. Or maybe it is. Sorry, it's going to be a regular wedding, not a My Wedding Stories wedding. So we then have these two who are going to get married. Look, she's wearing a red dress that the game put her in. I don't know what that lady from the new pack is doing here, but whatever. So yeah, we're going to have our wedding. You can see her little baby bump, but she is just trying to power through. I think she's really stressed about the whole thing. She wasn't expecting things to go this way, and now she's worried about what she's getting herself into, but she can't turn back now. There's no turning back now because you are having a baby. So we are going to have the reception up here where they are going to spend some time and just enjoy, and she is going to do her best not to freak out. It looks like she's sitting next to Bennett and Catherine, so that'll be interesting. So yeah, they are trying to relax, trying to have a good wedding day. Obviously everybody's talking about them, but what can you do about it? So I'm then going to update the family tree shortly with her. Now I don't know if I want to give them a new color or not. I haven't decided yet whether or not they should stay together. Like, I haven't decided yet, so I think we're going to just stay with the red for now. She's having a girl anyway, so it's not like we would have a son in our family tree who had the wrong color there. But we'll see where we go with that. And so we're just going to update everything. She's actually also going to have her baby this year, so there is that too. But anyway, we are going to make our way to the end of the wedding event, after which, of course, my computer gets stuck in the like pop-up and it won't check off and it won't do anything. But luckily this is one of those problems where I can like right click and quit and it will say, do you want to save and quit, and I can click save, so I won't actually lose any progress. But unfortunately it gets stuck right here and it's so annoying. Like, look, we're stuck. You could see an exception hit at the same time. I'm like, okay, we're stuck. Nothing's happening. So yeah, whatever. But anyway, so I have to restart my game. And then once we restart the game, we are actually going to instead head over to Katarina's household because some stuff is happening with her as well. I just wanted to do our main household at the beginning because obviously we had to get everything done before the baby was born. So now we are going to head over to the Light household. And we are going to have Katarina and her husband Amos and everything, and just have them kind of spending some time together. Katarina has noticed that her husband is really taking what his father said to heart, and that he really does, potentially want a son. And so she is trying to, seduce him at every turn, really trying to have another baby, but it's just not happening for them. They are just not able to have another child, and she doesn't really know why, but she's struggling with that. And so they are having a hard time, but she is still trying to keep her husband interested in her so that he doesn't try to wander and find someone who will give him a son. You can see him just like watching the Dubois children, and he's like, why did they get to have two boys? He's just watching them and then going to check on his daughters. I don't think it's that he still loves his daughters, obviously. I just think that there's a lot of pressure on him to have a male heir, and he's, kind of got this preconceived notion as to what things should be like, and because of that he has that idea of what it should be happening. So he actually gets his father and what's her name, Arella, and are trying to set up Catherine and Amos, and so he agrees to go on an outing with her. So we're out together with her. And you know what? She gets along pretty well with him. He's not really their friendship isn't going up very quickly, but when they flirt, it's very successful. And so maybe they only have like this physical attraction, but he's like, she's a princess. She was raised to rule a country. If I divorce my wife and get with her, then we could combine our countries, our kingdoms, and then have even more land and even more power, and we could have a son. And so he's really thinking about that seriously, which of course is not what Katarina wants him to think about, obviously. She is concerned about that. And I don't think that she wants to deal with the fact that her husband might leave her. So we are worried about that, definitely. So just having to continue moving forward with that. And then we're also going to age up some Sims. And I actually realized I did one of the townies incorrectly. So we are going to go there and realize what the problem is, because I'm like, wait, isn't she supposed to be becoming a child? She's already a child. I think she's supposed to be becoming a teenager, not a child. So that was my mistake. So for birthdays, we have Bennett Crookshank, Madison Whitehead, or Bennett Crookshank becoming a young adult, Madison Whitehead becoming a teenager, and Agnes Brigg becoming a teenager. So we actually have a lot more people available now for potential marriages, which is really good. And I'm just going to give them all quick makeovers and enjoy that. She is, of course, wearing something in every single outfit, which is really annoying, but whatever, you gotta just deal with it. And then we are going to get her in a nice outfit. So that's Madison Whitehead. All of the Whiteheads are vampires. So there is that. And then we have Bennett Crookshank. So he's doing well as well. Him and his mother are just living happily there, although we do need to start thinking about getting him a wife. And then we have Agnes Brigg, who is so pretty. Oh my gosh. And yeah, so then the next thing we're going to do is, it is technically still the second to last day of the year, which means that if a baby was born today, technically they become an infant before the end of the year. So that is exactly what ends up happening um, with Alice and Bert's baby. So Alice and Bert do have a daughter, and we name her Johanna, and she actually does survive. So she survives, and everything is really successful there. So that is our last birthday, as we're saying she is becoming an infant. And then I am just trying to get some of the Easter stuff done. Yep, here's the baby being born, and me checking the day, and then also being sure. So yeah, everything is going really well there, and they're doing good. So that will be that. And we'll just finish up some Easter stuff, and then I'll add the new baby to the family tree. We'll get the rest of the pictures in. Not that many birthdays this year. Everything is going pretty well. So next year, let's see, Gracia Heredia's birthday. Oh, Molly and Richard both have a birthday. And then Olivia Larkin is finally going to do her end of life role. It feels like she's been around forever. But yeah, she's going to do her end of life role. So we'll see if Molly and Richard's children end up orphans or not next year, but hopefully they'll be okay. So that is where we're going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed this part, and I am excited for the next part. I'm really enjoying these stories with Alice and Katerina. We're going to continue to follow both of them. So just because Alice moved out this year, even though I wasn't originally going to move her out, but just because she moved out doesn't mean that we are not going to, you know, that we're not going to keep following her. So be excited for that. Katerina is going to get the claws out. She is going to be vicious. So I hope you're excited for that, because I'm really excited for that. So I'll catch you in the next one.